been 1 month since installing our eco pond into our garden greenhouse dome. And when we installed the pond, the water was crystal clear. You could see all the way to the bottom, but now it's got a green hue to it and it's definitely cloudy. So I know we have to get the situation under control now before it gets any worse or causes problems with the plants or the fish. What is going on to cause this cloudiness? Green cloudiness is algae bloom, and that can happen when you get too much sunlight and heat into your pond. Now, it's common for a new pond to go through a cycling to get the right balance of bacteria, fish, and plant health. And in that first month, well, that's the critical time where that balance is happening, and it might not be ideal yet. What can we do about it? Well, first of all, to reduce algae, there's a few different things you can do. One is to get more plant coverage. The rule of thumb is to get about 60 to 70% coverage on the surface of pond plants, because what that does is that it blocks the sunlight from getting through feeding the algae underneath. So the more direct sun that the pond is getting, the more that it's feeding the algae. And you can see when the fountain's operating, it's definitely clearing out a big section for those sun rays to go through. I did get pond plants right away, and the duckweed, which is this really tiny stuff, definitely reproduced very rapidly. And we, on a good day, are probably getting about 50% pond coverage. Another strategy, and some people do this, is to put a tarp over your pond. Now that's got its plus and minuses. It's definitely going to do the job to block the sunlight, but then you're kind of losing out on the beauty and enjoyment of your pond by having 80, 70, or 80% of it covered during the day. Another thing I could do is to turn off the fountain during the day when the sun is the brightest, and that will allow for the plants to sort of cover a little bit more without getting submerged or growing up in a thicker layer. So those are some things to consider. The other thing to help prevent algae growth is to make sure you have really good aeration and filtration. So aeration through the fountains. We've got the spray fountain here. There's a waterfall fountain over there that's not running at the moment. This new fountain was installed last week, and it's definitely improved the aeration and definitely improved the quality of the water, but it's not perfect yet. This fountain has a much bigger filter that contains extra ceramic pieces that are more porous that can really trap some of those larger pieces of algae. Mechanical filtering only does so much because a lot of this cloudiness comes from microscopic algae that you can't really see. It just causes that cloudiness. You can't really filter it out with mechanical sponges. I think our biggest problem has come from the sunlight getting into the pond because we didn't have that plant coverage to begin with, but we do have a long-term solution, and I'll tell you that at the end of the video. I think it's going to definitely fix things for good. But in the meantime, I'm going to try a couple of specialty products. These are designed specifically for ponds with fish, so they are fish safe. It's kind of like a 1-2 punch. Accu-Clear, I believe this is like a flocculant, meaning it can take that microscopic algae and have it precipitate out of the water. Basically, it aggregates it into bigger particles so that they may be filtered. So that is going to be first. But this takes probably 24 hours to do, maybe 48 hours before I try the second part of this strategy, which is Pond-Zyme. Now, Pond-Zyme is a pond cleaner that introduces barley extract. So the barley extract outcompetes the algae for nutrient absorption. It'll uptake a lot of that nitrogen so that the algae doesn't get it. So hopefully, between the two products, it'll definitely clear things up in a matter of, I hope, a couple of weeks. Now, this pond is gigantic. Over 2,000 gallons. It's actually 2,800 gallons. We did it by calculation, and that's basically the entire container. Okay, so it says to wait for 24 hours if a second dose is necessary. Fingers crossed. And then checking in the next day, I've actually turned on the lights at the bottom of the pond to help visualize what's going on. And honestly, I don't really see much improvement. Still very cloudy, still pretty yellow. So I'm going to let it go another 24 hours. Maybe just didn't have time to sort of get through all the pumps and get mixed in thoroughly. Honestly, I'm pretty disappointed. I was really hoping that this was going to be a major fix to clear out the pond, especially that suspended algae. I really can't even tell a difference after adding the entire bottle. So kind of bummed. I feel like I wasted my money, but yeah, we'll give it another day and see what happens. So it's been almost 48 hours since adding the Accu-Clear to the pond, but honestly the water's still looking a little green and cloudy. And you can dose again, but I'm not sure about overdosing, so I think I'm going to go on to the next step. The next step is to use the Pond-Zyme. This is going to add barley extract and beneficial bacteria to help clarify the pond. So I'm going to add this and then check back in a couple weeks and hopefully we see some improvement. The size of my pond, that's a little over a full cup of the Pond-Zyme extract. So I'm just going to start sprinkling it on, even though the fish probably think it's some food. Hopefully it dissolves pretty quickly. It's definitely coating the surface. Maybe I'll turn the pumps back on just to kind of mix it in a little bit more. As organic matter starts to accumulate in ponds, it forms that sludge, especially at the bottom. The Pond-Zyme is supposed to help work by breaking down fish waste, dead algae, digesting the leaves or any other plant material at the bottom, and the power of barley, which can help compete for nutrition for the algae. So the barley will take it up and the algae will have nothing and not be able to grow. We'll find out in a couple of weeks, folks, if this Pond-Zyme is the ticket. It says that you can even do it twice a week at the beginning. So definitely stay tuned for the follow-up pond video, and I'll let you know if I finally got crystal clear pond water.